Right, episode 5 of Smarks Without Attitude, brought to you by a couple of sort of psychics. We can claim that we predicted correctly that there'd be a Punjabi prison match returning to WWE television, but we were kind of wrong because we both said it wouldn't happen, but we still mentioned it, and I think we mentioned it before everyone else, so I'm going to take credit for it.
I don't think we should be taking credit for this. I don't think this is going to be a good thing in the long run.
Agreed, but you never know.
I was quite clear I did not want there to be a Punjabi prison match. I was quite happy just to have a cage or a Hell in a Cell or a no DQ match. Not the double. It's like the modern day Kennel from Hell. You've seen a Punjabi prison match, surely, previously?
Of course I have.
Yeah, it's fucking stated.
Well,
anyway.
Yes. So, episode 5 of Smarks Without Attitude, brought to you by me, Reese, and you, Harry. Say hello, Harry.
Hello, Reese. You're right.
I'm fine. You good?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, just recovering from Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah, it's Tuesday, early Tuesday evening as we record this, so it's been in the books for 2 days. Can we agree that it's possibly the stupidest name for a pay-per-view ever in wrestling?
Oh, definitely. I think it's a rib. It has to be a rib. Must be.
But didn't they pay him? They paid Jerry Lewis. Is it Jerry Lewis? Yeah.
Yeah.
They paid Jerry Lewis for the rights of one, using the music and the name, and Michael Cole did say on more than one occasion, "Welcome to the first Great Balls of Fire."
First of hopefully not many. I was just saying to you before, it's like the WWE have lost their thesaurus. Like, we have Insurrection and Rebellion sitting in the wings of bringing them back as pay-per-view names, and they never bother. They just go for like fucking 50s, isn't it?
It is 50s, yeah. Diner, drive-in, drive-through, whatever.
Oh, they had that in the opening package. Jesus Christ.
I actually quite enjoyed the opening package and the animation stuff. I thought it was quite fun.
I thought it was kind of a clash of styles, and it didn't help the fact that the movie trailer guy doing WWE Great Balls of Fire and all that. It's just like...
That was good.
I just miss Freddie Blassie. Do you remember the old Attitude Era where they were talking, they have these massively dramatic promos, and he'd be like, 90-year-old Blassie going, "Team."
Yeah, it was great.
Take soul men.
They were great, yeah.
They were fantastic. I just thought it was a bit of a clash, but I can understand the reason they've gone for this name. It's literally to get memes. It's to get internet buzz. And fair fucks to them, they got internet buzz. Not as many memes as they probably would have hoped.
Are you saying that they meant to put in a cock and balls on their logo to get...
This is the same company that had the Val Venus, the cum shirt, and they had that Sin Cara one with the big cock on it. I think if you make something and stare at it for too long, you lose track of what you're looking at. At least I hope it was.
Well, quite possibly. Fair point. Like all of those Disney posters with cocks in the background.
No, that was legit.
They were legit.
Very bored animators and artists.
Indeed. So, okay. Great Balls of Fire. Shall we kick off?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, so pre-shows. I don't watch pre-shows, so please, can you fill us in?
Okay, I can. Quick note before our match. Pete Rosenberg, the guy he's on the WWE, bring it to the table, bald guy, yeah?
Not the Art Garfunkel guy, the other guy.
That's the one. He said this was the biggest pay-per-view of the year.
What?
I was shocked as well. I was like, okay. There was a little bit on the pre-show on the table where Emma interrupted Dana, and I thought that must be leading to something later. Little did I know it did not. And Renee Young, being the ultimate fangirl, says Dean Ambrose is the must-watch superstar of the evening. Good wifey.
Well, it's his wife, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Our pre-show Mountain Dew Doritos main event is unfortunately the WWE Cruiserweight Championship between Neville and Akira Tozawa, which absolutely sucks because this match was really good, in my opinion,
Okay.
minus it lacking a bit of sizzle and just a bit of a better finish.
Yeah, I saw from the highlights package during the actual pay-per-view portion that he low-blowed him. Well, he crotched him on the ropes, then he kicked the ropes, he fell off the ropes holding his groin. Ow, my groin! And then and then he gave him a spin kick to the stomach and won with a 3 count.
Yeah, I thought that is weak. But to be fair, Neville doesn't do the Red Arrow as much anymore. It's purely for mega events like Mania and SummerSlam. He didn't use his submission finisher, which I can't remember the name of at this point.
Rings of Saturn.
That's the one. Sorry, I completely forgot about that. Which is still kind of good because that means Tozawa doesn't tap out and doesn't, give the visual weakness of losing by submission.
Right.
But there were some good spots. There was the bit where there was a fireman's carry from what's it called? Springboard, which went into an octopus stretch straight out of Zack Sabre Jr.'s playbook.
Right, yep.
Yeah, again, Tozawa is quite over. Obviously, his trademark shouts, the crowd absolutely love them. And Neville is by far one of the best heels in the company at the moment.
Yeah,
but I thought it was quite a solid match. I hope these two meet again. I thought it was very good, especially now that the Cruiserweight division is it has lost Austin Aries. There's more room towards the top with the title. But I hope there's more matches between these two.
The Cruiserweight division is bollocks, if you ask me. But Neville is I'd say he was the crowning turd in the sewer pipe.
That's so bad. He's great. You can't call him a turd.
Actually, no, that's wrong. What's the right expression I'm looking for? Is it diamond in the coal mine or something like that? There you go.
Diamond in the rough. Diamond in the rough.
There you go. That's the one I'm looking for. But anyway, he's great. The rest of it's shit, is what I'm saying.
I think 205 Live as a grand experiment has failed quite miserably. I know some people say it's a well-booked show, but it's just having it on the SmackDown. I was going to say tapings, but is it before or after SmackDown? I think it's after, isn't it?
SmackDown.
So you've got a tired audience. You've got people that don't really keep track of it. Just integrate it to Raw to make that 3 hours a little bit more digestible. Like have two cruiserweight matches.
Why not give them the second hour so that you can build up the angles for the third hour and promos. Then you can have a second hour where you have cruiserweights doing their thing, which also adds a little bit of, kind of a delay in seeing angles in the third hour. Then third hour is your weekly payoff to those angles or further build to those angles. There you go.
I don't think the audience would stick with it, to be honest.
Don't know, but I think
you're giving way too much credit.
They need to do something to try and get people back for that third hour. They lose people in that third hour. But
they don't have to dedicate an entire hour to the cruiserweights, which is what they're currently doing at the moment on the 205 Live. Just have one match in the first hour and then a second match in middle of hour 2.
Well, Nitro used to be kind of first hour and a half of Nitro, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's why it got to this point about 99 where people would just tune in after between hour 2 because they knew nothing would happen.
Also, by 99, they did lose quite a lot of their quite key cruiserweights.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, we move on. So yeah, Neville beat Tozawa 11 minutes 40 seconds I've got here, which seems all right. First opening contest is Bray Wyatt against Seth Rollins, and Bray Wyatt wins with a Sister Abigail at 12 minutes 10 seconds. What did you think of this match?
I thought it was actually quite a good match. Sorry, go on.
I disagree, but go on.
I thought it was a good match. It was just a back and forth encounter. Just one person would have an advantage and then it would quickly go to the other just to get them so they could both get their moves in. I was shocked that Bray won on pay-per-view. I know he had a little bit of a screwy finish towards the end, but he still won.
I think he needed the win in this match.
I did as well, but cynical me thinks this is just setting it up so Rollins gets the return win and then the rubber match afterwards.
100% that's going to happen, but that's why he needed to win this match.
But it's predictable.
It is predictable.
Can't Bray get over someone? I know he was WWE champion for 2 weeks, but can't he just go over in a program to make himself look a bit, more challenging?
Maybe, but not against the new cover of WWE 2K games. I can't see that happening.
That's a point, actually. They do have a lot of faith in Rollins. He's a good hand to have, and he should definitely be in the title picture at some point.
Yeah, I just didn't enjoy this match that much. I just thought it was a bit going with the motions. There was nothing really major. There wasn't a majorly great spot in it. It was your same. It was pretty much your standard Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt match. They got their spots in. I do enjoy watching Rollins, especially when he's on offense. I think he's got a really good offense.
Yeah, he's got a good repertoire of moves. He did his Falcon Arrow, did his Blockbuster, which was picture perfect. He's just a very easy to watch wrestler, and he's just great at cardiac as well.
Agreed.
This was it was much quicker paced than what we've seen previously from Bray Wyatt. I mean, to his credit, Bray's a competent wrestler himself, but he obviously has to go for the more slow, methodical pace because of his size, and, he can't run around like a blue-ass fly, because then how would you take him seriously? But I thought it was a good match. I'm quite shocked. I thought you would have enjoyed this.
Well, no, that's why I didn't enjoy it, because I just expected to enjoy it, and then at the end of the match, it was just a bit bloody-blah for me. I expect them to go again. I expect Rollins to win. I expect them to go for a third match, even if it's on Raw, and again, Rollins will win. I'm glad that Bray got a win on pay-per-view like this in these kind of feuds, because I just think he's one of the worst booked wrestlers they've had in the last 5 years. And yeah, I'm just glad he got something out of this. I quite like him, though I will admit I think his shtick is very boring and long in the tooth now. I think he needs a major overhaul, just like his brother, but we'll get to that.
I disagree. I think he does. I mean, it is a common criticism with Bray. He talks well, but he talks complete bollocks throughout most of his programs.
Not so much. It's not even that it's bollocks. It's just that it's the same bollocks that he's been speaking for like the last 2 years.
Where he says, this is stereotypical for this type of feud. I am God, and Seth is basically the atheist, and that's been the storyline of Bray Wyatt for the last 3 years. I think his promos are well done, but I can see what
they are well done. But his usual content is, you have in some way offended me, and I am the eater of worlds, and I am going to get my retribution on you. And it's never really clear. And again, I quite like the character. I just think he needs to take a little bit different to happen soon.
I'll play devil's advocate. If you were booking, how would you change him?
It's all well and good having not enjoying it, but that's the thing. I don't know. I think they've painted themselves into a corner with his character, in that I don't think his character can go over that much. I just don't think it can. I think he's been created in the same way that Rusev's been used in the last 12 months, in that he's going to be the person that the babyface beats, because it's just an easy way to book. So I don't know, I'd just try and do something quite radical. Maybe at last bring in some kind of Sister Abigail, but again, I still think that might be a bit rubbish. Or just give him some kind of, I don't know, like a little makeover, or give him another bloody stable. The Wyatt stuff has always been good when he has the family. When he's on his own and he's still doing the crazed cult leader shtick, and he hasn't actually got any members of his family, I just think it dies out a little bit. If they would have put the belt on him, well, they put the belt on him. Had they then kept it on him for maybe a month or two, defended against a couple of people, I just think his character would have really benefited from that, and he'd be taken a bit more seriously. But I don't think he's taken seriously, and I don't really take him that seriously either.
I know a lot of people have very bad feelings on it now, especially with 20 years of hindsight, but maybe take a page out of Ministry of Darkness Undertaker. Not as Buffy Vampire Slayer-esque, but, just make him have a big stable, have him go off the deep end, have him go, mad.
Yeah,
at least it'd be captivating to watch.
I like that idea. I just think either go really into the gimmick or give him a new gimmick.
Don't make him be a biker.
No, but as we mentioned, his brother's going now. But again, we'll mention that later.
Yeah, but I thought it was a good match.
I was just a bit disappointed in it, but it was watchable. Okay, so next match was Enzo Amore against Big Cass. This was, well, it was a squash match. Big Cass won by pinfall with a big boot at 5 minutes 25 seconds. Did you enjoy the video package for this?
I enjoyed the video package, and I thought, I guarantee you were going to mention it straight afterwards, the promo at the start of the match. Stellar.
Too long.
Fantastic. You thought it was too long?
Way too long. He speaks for like he speaks for something like 8 minutes.
I know, but I didn't get bored.
It's a pay-per-view. You don't do that on pay-per-view.
Actually, so now you're saying that the pay-per-view was the actual main show was 3 hours. I thought it was good.
3 hours and 5 minutes.
Again, it's a night of shocks. I thought it was quite competent. I thought he did a good job of delivering the match.
I'm just going to
even though the match was a squash.
I'll say one thing: it's not a bad promo. He's a great promo. That's the reason he still gets on television and on pay-per-views, because he's a promo. But this match, in my opinion, killed any credibility he has as a wrestler, and he spoke for too long at the start. I enjoyed it. It was okay, but after a couple of minutes, and after about the 17th Frank Sinatra pun, I was just like, send him out. Yeah, it was interesting. The intro package, so the build-up package, the video package was brilliant, really good, really told a story which I've largely ignored from Raw, but quite enjoyed the recap of. So they start the match. Enzo just can't wrestle for shit. He's great on the mic. He can't wrestle. And yeah, he was squashed. Cass basically just toyed with him for 5 minutes. And he got a win in what I'm going to assume is the start of maybe a mid-card push to an IC title reign in the next couple of months. I could see that happening.
I think, although Cass is the more competent of the two, I think he needs still quite a lot of work. But obviously, they see something in him because he was involved in the Fatal 4-Way where Owens won the Universal title, if you remember.
He was, yes.
But I completely agree about Amore. He talks. He's a fantastic talker. I have no idea what they're going to do with him there because no one can really take him seriously as a wrestler. He's never been great. I mean, I know you can make the easy comparisons when they were tag teams to them and the New Age Outlaws, where he was basically like Road Dogg and Big Cass was Billy Gunn. He would always get the hot tag and clean house. But there's not really much to talk about in the match. It's just a standard squash, which was weird to have on pay-per-view. Yeah. I hope this is the last match between these two. But I was more interested to see not where Cass goes, but what they're going to do with Enzo, because as you say, he's not a good wrestler at all. Do they send him back to NXT to get revamped and get retrained, or do they chance him with the cruiserweights, or what?
My assumption is he will get a new tag partner of some kind on Raw. I mean, would they make him a manager? I think he'd be a pretty good manager, but
I agree, yeah. I think he'd be a great manager.
Just don't think he's got a future as a wrestler, really. There you go.
No, not without a massive reboot of his character, like a complete gimmick change. But yeah, it's not really. The match is a standard squash. There's not really much to talk about with it.
Yeah, so Big Cass gets the win. Okay, next up, Cesaro and Sheamus defending their tag team titles against the Hardys in a 30-minute Iron Man match. This
First
was
ever 30-minute Iron Man match.
Women, women had one, didn't they? Their one was 30 minutes.
No, so this is the first tag team one. They had, did you see the promo the Hardy Boys cut just before the squash match?
Yes.
Where they basically say they've been involved. Obviously, they knew it. I didn't know how many first types of matches they're involved in.
Yep.
So I thought that was quite cool. Again, they're still making nods towards a broken Matt, which has been going on for weeks now.
Yeah, apparently they've either just about bought it or they have got it now. So they've made a lot of references to it recently. So I think it's pretty much done.
Yeah, SummerSlam it's happening, I think.
Or the start of it will be SummerSlam anyway. Yeah, so Cesaro and Sheamus won the match. They won by 4 falls to 3 after 30 minutes. This match was pretty good. I thought it was good.
I thought it was match of the night. I thought it was great. I thought it was really good.
Don't know if it wasn't my match of the night, but it was. I was just a bit baffled by a few things.
Okay.
I didn't like the first fall of the match being after 20 seconds.
But that's heel shenanigans.
It was heel
At least.
shenanigans, and I agree with that. And I also hate it. I despised the last fall of the match as well. But it was a good match. I thought Cesaro and Sheamus being booked as smart, heelish champions was brilliant.
They do look strong, to be fair. I mean, they have for last year or so, but they did look, in this match in particular, they did look very good. Cesaro is, he's one of my favourite wrestlers like in the company.
Agreed.
He's an absolute workhorse, along with Sheamus. But fair, I mean, the guy was running circles around everybody else. He didn't have a bead of sweat on him. He was doing fucking jumping jacks after 25 minutes. It's like, Jesus Christ. There were some good spots. The biggest one, obviously, being, in my opinion, the twist of fate from the top rope.
Matt
Sheamus
on
looked like he
Matt
died.
and Sheamus, yeah, that was good. Yeah,
It looked fucking. Obviously, it must have been fine, but I thought he's concussed. He's fucked.
that was to make it 3-3, right?
Yeah, I said it was. I wrote my notes. Matt hits a diabolical top rope twist of fate for 3-3. It looked. I mean, it must have been fine.
Yeah. So the match was. I thought the match. I don't know about the pacing of the match because the first 10 minutes was interesting. It was kind of. I mean, they kind of just squashed the Hardys for 10 minutes. It was 2-0 up after 10 minutes. I thought the ending was built really well. Like the build to the ending was quite good. Like the last 7 minutes was really quite action packed. There was a bit of a lull in the middle, but that's going to happen in a 30-minute match in WWE now because I don't think I don't think they don't go 30 minutes in WWE is quite an alien thing now.
Even in the with the style of wrestlers they have now, it's still unusual to see that on pay-per-view. Obviously, they have to pace themselves, although I think it was more for the benefit of, Matt and Jeff were in their, they must be in their mid-30s now, or late 30s?
Mid to late, I'm assuming.
I mean, they still work really well. But
I'm just glad, I'm glad that this didn't go into overtime.
See, I got worked good and proper. I was like, maybe they could go to sudden death. I could do with another 5 minutes.
I didn't want it to because, Iron Man matches usually do go to sudden death. So I was quite pleased that they didn't do that. I really didn't like the final fall.
What with, who guess is...
So Cesaro got the fall on
mad exchange.
Jeff,
the crazy, yeah.
But he did the senton on Sheamus. Yeah. And then Cesaro just immediately jumped on him and kind of forcefully held him down. His shoulders came off the mat a few times during the count, I noticed. But it just seems like a really odd fall. I know the senton is booked and sold in a way that hurts Jeff when he does it. It's that kind of like body on body. It takes a bit out of him, like the same kind of way that RVD used to sell the frog splash.
Yeah.
But it just seemed a bit weird to me.
I didn't know if he was just in kayfabe using his momentum when he crash lands to push him down to the mat and pin him.
I guess so, yeah. But
again, that's trying to apply logic to a wrestling match. I thought it was fine. I just thought it was a bit crazy because I had to rewatch it to catch Cesaro's tag because it was all about Sheamus in that because they both do blind tags together, but no one picks up on Sheamus. I'm not Cesaro, sorry.
Yeah. And then Cesaro and Sheamus run away from the Hardys outside, which I thought was quite funny.
Was there a ref botch? Because the crowd chants to the ref, "You suck."
I don't.
Because of it's when Matt hits the moonsault.
I can't remember. I think
it was to get. I think it was to get him back to 3-3. I can't remember. It might have just been because even when I looked, I thought I heard a distinct 3 bangs, but I think it was just a ref coming down to the mat, then counting 2. But the crowd did chant "Ref, you suck," which was again I'd have to rewatch it. But I thought this was a good match. I thought it was definitely a match of the night. I don't want to see these 4 wrestle again because I think the feud should be now finished.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with this feud, but I've got a feeling it might go again on maybe at least on a Raw. Who knows?
Maybe just as filler, but no, big thumbs up for me. I thought it was very good. Very good.
And Matt was busted up quite bad at the end of the match. I'm assuming by a mistake.
This has been a good program. Jeff's lost his tooth. Matt's got a horrible, gash on his eyebrow. He did the broken face as well, which made me laugh. When they do a close up, I think he's just doing I don't know if he did it on purpose or not because they're trying to wipe his face. And just make sure, but it looked like he was trying to keep his bearings, but he looked like he was about to say excellent.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. I can't do his accent. I don't think he can do it consistently.
Oh no, that was one of the best things of the gimmick. His accent changed every 10 sentences.
like part Borat, and then he'd suddenly switch back to being from Carolina, and then it'd be like fucking more Eastern European than Australian.
Brother Nero, I knew you'd come.
You made me want to rewatch the fucking match now.
I think everyone should rewatch that. It's brilliant.
The final deletion.
Okay, so Cesaro and Sheamus retain their titles. Next up was Alexa Bliss against Sasha Banks. And Sasha Banks won via lazy booking decision after 11 minutes 40 seconds, also known as basically a fake count out. Well, not a fake count out, but the champion didn't want any more of the match, so got herself counted out. And then
I believe it's what the bookers call the "fuck you" finish.
Well,
fuck you guys, you're not getting a
finish. I wasn't particularly emotionally invested in this match. It was just on and it was there, but the ending pissed me off.
I thought the crowd were dead from the previous match. This match barely had any pace to it whatsoever. I don't know why, but these two didn't seem to work very well with each other whatsoever.
Yeah.
And there was a bit in the probably one of the only highlights is there's a weird arm drag spot where Sasha, I think, what is that? I'll read it out. Slow start. Sasha adds an arm lock, then runs to the corner, jumps up on the corner, then jumps down and does an arm drag. I don't think the previous steps were necessary. It's like, what the fuck was that for? It's just this match. It's a combination of tired crowd, women not gelling, and then a big fuck you finish. Just as you've said on the was it Money in the Bank where you said, what is it better for the heel champion to just simply get a pinfall victory with shenanigans rather than just do the count out bollocks?
Yeah, because don't you think it just makes the ref look stupid? Because
yeah.
So obviously I don't give a shit about the refs, but I don't know. She's sitting there pretending to be hurt or whatever. The second the bell goes, she stands up and smiles, grabs her belt and walks away. And it's kind of like, you've seen matches before where the referee can kind of not make a decision or they reverse the decision. You know, like Shamrock having his IC title win reversed after he wouldn't let go of the ankle lock on The Rock. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but they can. Why couldn't the ref turn around and go, well, she's obviously pretended and therefore I reversed my decision. The match will continue. That kind of thing. That kind of booking annoys me. I don't know if it was because they just wanted the reason to get to the big jumping spot and the knees on the chest spot, which was a botch, and it looks as though a Bliss has busted her nose up on that.
Fucking hell, Sasha.
Banks keeps getting these shots and she keeps botching. Although I don't know if it was her fault. I don't know. But, I mean, this was a 12-minute match, right?
It felt longer than that, to be fair.
But the women don't get 12 minutes very often. And now when they do get 12 minutes on a pay-per-view, this match is kind of it was just there. It was nothing.
No, it was in a bit of a death spot. And again, it didn't help that they didn't really work well together, but it was like, it was all about the angle afterwards. And it's like, I don't want to see these two wrestle again after seeing that.
Yeah.
Like, what else can they honestly do? I just thought it was a bit meh. I
agree. So, yeah, we'll leave it that. Sasha Banks wins, but Bliss retains. Next match, Christ. I think in the last 18 months, this is probably the 10th fucking pay-per-view match these two have had. The Miz...
I was going to say, it's like the cleaning of a house. This feud will never end.
Oh, it's awful. So The Miz against Dean Ambrose, IC title, and The Miz won via pinfall after a skull-crushing finale. This match had 11 minutes, 20 seconds.
Felt longer.
The most interesting thing I can say about this match for me was Bo Dallas's new look.
I've got the exact same note. I've said, why is everyone dressed smart except Bo? He looks like he's cosplaying as a member of Sanity.
I have no idea what he is trying to do or what it is, but I dig it because it's something new for him and he needed something new. So let's see if anything comes of that.
Did you notice there was no promo footage either? Like no promo package, I should say, because of the NBA shit from earlier in the month.
Oh, it's just, they've got just finish this fucking feud. It's so
It's never going to
tiresome.
fucking keep it. We will both be dead, and this feud will still be going on, and they'll be dead as well. And we'll be wondering how the fuck is this possible.
My only notes for this match are Bo Dallas looks funny. Ambrose has busted his mouth open. Typical shenanigans from Maurice and the Miztourage, as that stable is now known. Please let this feud die. Bo Dallas looks like a fat Steven Tyler.
That's harsh.
I meant that with the love, but yeah, I can't get into these matches anymore.
It is very samey at this point. Don't get me wrong, I love Ambrose, I love Miz, but there's only so many times we can see this match, and we've seen it way too many fucking times at this point.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm glad that they've finally given Miz's yes kicks names. I called them Miz kicks, but Corey says they're called the it kicks.
Yep, that'll do.
I feel like we're doing a disservice to not talking about it, but if you've ever seen any of the previous encounters, it's exactly the same. Yeah. Maurice interferes, everyone interferes, Miz wins with a skull-crushing finale. Competent but predictable match. Crowd is mostly dead. Please let this feud finish.
Yeah, I'm dying for both of these guys to get something new because it's just stagnating massively.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many other guys that were missing from tonight they could have done with the match. Like, just put them in with Miz or give something to Ambrose, and once again we're repeating the same thing over and over again. It's just fucking tedious.
Yeah, put Balor and Miz in a feud together for the IC title.
Yeah, but Finn had to finish his feud with Elias Sampson on Raw.
Whatever.
So, they were busy. And if you're thinking about, Goldust, who, despite the fact he's 48, he's on a fucking career upturn at this point. He had his Raw match with R-Truth, so he was busy as well.
Well, quite possibly.
Yeah.
Okay, enough of this match.
Yeah.
Okay, our sort of semi-main, Braun Strowman against Roman Reigns in an ambulance match. This was my match of the night because I just quite enjoyed it, very much so. Strowman won the match in 16 minutes, 35 seconds. You have to win the match by throwing your opponent into an ambulance and shutting the doors. Strowman won by stupidity.
A dodge, a sidestep.
It was just awful. It was awfully corny, but it made me laugh. So there you go. I thought this match was quite fun. Strowman was booked really strong. Both of them were booked quite strong.
They do work well together, these two.
I think they do. Yeah, there was some really cool spots. I liked the bit with the chair shots. No selling the chair shots to his injured elbow. Called, what was it? Hit me again, you son of a bitch. Really enjoyed that bit.
Did you like the bit where Braun did a power slam and went for a cover, and then realised what he was doing, and then stood up and did a taunt, and then the commentators tried to cover for him?
That will happen with these kind of matches. The screen, they did that spot when they went through the screen, which I thought was a bit rubbish looking, but it was nifty.
I do like the fact that the WWE does put the extra effort and tries to put static on the other bits, even though there's absolutely probably no way that would happen because they're it's LED walls separated. So I think it would just black out, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I'm not a techie expert.
Quite possibly. But so I've got here what the hell was that finish? How stupid does that make Roman look? Again, I thought it was quite funny and kind of well done, but not really well done, if that makes any sense.
I suppose it's best case scenario because it means Braun wins. Roman, it just looks unlucky on his half, so he can keep his heat.
Yeah, they kind of keep everyone strong. And then the after-match shenanigans. But actually, before we get to that, do you have any thoughts on the actual match?
I thought it was a good match. Again, we've seen these two wrestle several times. I'm not as bored as I am between Ambrose and Miz. As you rightly say, it's a case of both looking strong. I thought there were some good spots. Roman did well to make Braun look much bigger than he was, in terms of carrying weight and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There were some good spots, like Braun does the reverse chokeslam. Did you see that?
Yep, I quite like that.
I did like the exchange that led to the drive-by. before that, just after that as well. I generally thought Braun would hit a powerbomb on the entrance ramp, but silly me thought that there's no way that's going to happen. And then he flung him into the side of the ambulance, and that did look quite sore. And the finish was fine as far as I was concerned. I still prefer the tag team match, but yeah, this was a good match. I was happy with it.
Yes, but I suppose the meat to this match was the after-match angle. So
Yeah.
Roman didn't like losing, so he bursts out of the ambulance, beats up Braun, throws him in the back of the ambulance, throws the EMTs out of the ambulance, aimlessly drives it to the garage out back, stops, has a moment of reflection whilst looking at himself in the mirror, almost as if he's saying to himself, "Are you going to do it? Are you going to attempt murder?" He then agrees that he will. He reverses the ambulance into a truck, crushing both the truck and the back of the ambulance. He then exits the ambulance, flees the scene of the crime, which this is. This is attempted murder. And then Kurt Angle does a very good acting job, I will say, whilst they call Jamie Noble, who doesn't stop shouting out, "Braun, Braun!" So
Which just happens to have a crowbar.
Yes, yeah, when they got a crowbar, they call the fire brigade, who turn up within about a minute, which is very good response time, if I don't say so myself.
You're also forgetting that the match of the year is taking place at this point as well.
For some reason, they didn't want this to be such a weirdly prolonged angle, so they put out Kurt Hawkins and Heath Slater. Apparently, Heath Slater won that match off camera. I do not give two shits about that.
I heard him get announced. I think it took about 90 seconds for him to win.
Yes, I think it was something like 2 minutes and 16 seconds, but it's the most pointless thing they've ever done, ever. All the while, they've got a split screen for most of it, but then full screen on the Strowman angle for the majority. And they use the Jaws of Life. They open it up. Braun is covered in blood, which I thought looked quite cool. He refuses medical attention. He pushes people away. He gets up, falls down several times, and he saunters away into the distance, off into the sunset. How is this not a double turn?
I don't know. It's obviously his face because he stood up on his own 2 feet, didn't need help. He's tough, he's mean, but he walked out on his own volition.
He did.
Roman does terrible things because he lost clean. He's surely heel at this point.
This is attempted murder.
I'm just thinking, I know people have pointed this out, I'm just thinking fucking Attitude Era and Austin basically set their precedents for, you can do vehicular manslaughter and get away with it.
True, yeah.
But, logic would dictate that this is, as you rightly point out, this is a double turn. Braun is face, surely. Roman is now heel. I obviously think that the WWE wants to have their cake and eat it by saying, well, Roman's just, he's unrelenting, a badass, he's still face, and Braun's tough as nails, now he's face. I was kind of shocked. I was expecting Braun to break out the ambulance like the fucking T-Rex out at the end of the Lost World, where they were going to get the Jaws of Life, and he just broke, and then he just run off. I was quite shocked that he was crawling out a bloody mess. I thought it was very well done, though, the angle.
As far as I'm concerned, he's a face now and Roman is a heel. But going by Raw, I don't think he wasn't being portrayed as a heel. So I think...
Well, Reece, you forget, he's not a bad guy. He's not a good guy.
He's the guy.
The guy. So he'll do whatever he wants.
So I think this is more just a case of shades of grey.
Oh, God, don't you sound like fucking Russo now.
Well, yeah, but, that's what the Attitude Era gave us, so there you go.
Cornette's probably fucking fuming at this point.
Thank you, fuck you, bye. Okay, so yeah, that was that match. I quite enjoyed it, the whole lot of it. Yeah,
I still prefer the tag team match, but I thought it was a very good ambulance match, and of course Slater and I was going to say Heath Ledger then. Sorry, Heath Slater and Kurt Hawkins. Sorry, I thought that was great.
Oh yeah, that's match of the year, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I thought there. Yeah. Hopefully it'll be on a DVD set where we can see what actually really happened with that Canadian destroying that 720 splash.
Yeah, the burning hammer onto the onto the burning table with tacks. Yeah. We move on to the main event of the evening. Brock Lesnar defends his Universal title against Samoa Joe in what I would call quite a fun match. Brock won with an F5 after 6 minutes 25 seconds. He was in what's the name of Joe's finisher?
Akida Clutch.
He was in that, nearly went out, and then he got a second win and F5'd him. A single F5 for the win, which I thought was slightly odd considering it's a bit, well, one F5 doesn't usually do the job.
Yeah, and Joe managed to lock in his Akida Clutch at least 3 times.
Yeah.
And Brock got out each time. I thought that was 2 times too many. I think once would have been fine. I think 3 times makes it look a little bit weak. I know it's Brock, but I still think that was unnecessary. I thought it was all right. I was glad Joe jobbed. He didn't get squashed outright.
Yeah. I thought this match was quite cool. I thought it had a really big match feel to it.
It did. I forgot to mention as well that the crowd definitely bucked up for Reigns and Braun after the 2-match break previous, and they were very hyped for this.
Yep.
I was quite shocked it went for 5, but I just thought it was basic as fuck. But that's pretty much all Lesnar matches except against Taker.
Well, if you take away the sneak attack that Joe did at the start, so before the bell, he jumped him, put him through a table. And so if you would have just added that to the match would have gone probably over 10 minutes, which Brock hasn't done in a while. So the match was only 6 minutes, 25 seconds officially, but the actual action was probably about 10, 12 minutes, which was good, I thought. But it was just a strange thing. I think it's just to try and make Joe look strong and by comparison, make Lesnar look strong because he got jumped and still won.
I think if they were going to do the Akida clutches that many times, I think 2 F5s should have been, he should have kicked out of one, and then Brock should have been super pissed off and just hit another one straight afterwards, and then 1-0 afterwards.
Yep, but I thought Joe looked quite good in this match. He had your standard suplexes. I think he got to how many? How many suplexes did Brock hit? Was it 6 or 9?
I got 6.
6 suplexes, 2 batches of 3. There was a couple of near falls on Lesnar, which, again, we haven't seen in a while.
No, as I said at the end of this match, I was quite shocked. I think Joe's stock is completely fine. He did look very strong in this match.
Apparently, Lesnar was very impressed with him.
Oh, that's nice. I don't know about yourself, but I don't think Lesnar should have the title at any point because he takes far too long off and doesn't really do anything with it.
Agreed.
I think they should book him like they did with Taker, where he's a spectacle and doesn't need the title. And the way they've booked Joe, he should have the title and should be the monster heel of the brand of Raw. But it looks like at this point it's Strowman versus Brock at SummerSlam.
Yeah, okay.
Surely. But again, I thought it was an okay match. The crowd was very into it. I'm glad Joe came out of it with a lot of heat. But yeah, it was all right.
I think SummerSlam will be a fatal 4-way between Lesnar, Joe, Reigns and Strowman. That's just my opinion.
Well, from Raw this week, that is possible. I think it'll be Roman and Samoa Joe in their own match. Again, I know although they've had that match before, haven't they? On Raw?
There was no finish. That was the one when Strowman... That was the match that Strowman came back in... Actually, no, there was a finish. It was a distraction finish when Strowman came back from his injury by coming out of an ambulance, distracting Roman, and Joe beat him by making him pass out in the clutch.
Okay. I mean, it's not like it... I mean, the WWE always does 50-50 booking anyway. They put fucking matches on television all the time that end up on pay-per-view, so... I think it'll be those two, and then... It'll still be Strowman versus Brock, and the end goal still seems to be Brock versus Roman for Mania, which is a shame. Yeah, at least Raw looks a bit more optimistic at this point, while SmackDown seems to be slowly faltering.
Yeah, quite possibly. One
What
thing,
did you think of?
one
Sorry,
thing.
what was
Just,
going to say?
just gonna say one thing. I'd like to see a Lesnar Joe rematch. Actually, I think that they should. I think they've got more story to tell between these two. And,
I would agree, but because I have no faith in Joe winning whatsoever, I don't really want to see him get beaten twice. I think Joe should move on to somebody else.
Yeah,
Maybe have better matches. It's just this is the problem with Brock's booking, because obviously if they are generally going for WrestleMania with him against Roman, every match is fucking predictable, and it's kind of good that guys like Finn, Seth are away from him at this point in time, where they can't get squashed.
Yeah, I just don't see them having the patience to wait until WrestleMania for Reigns to beat Lesnar. I just can't see it.
No, as Meltzer said, depending on how the ratings are going and how merchandise is selling and stuff, they will change their mind. So, and Vince is known to do that quite frequently. Maybe it'll be Strowman for all we know. Maybe he'll beat Brock at SummerSlam.
Yeah, could well happen. Okay, that ends Great Balls of Fire.
I was going to ask, what did you actually think of the pay-per-view overall?
I thought overall it was pretty good.
I think it's definitely the best WWE pay-per-view we've reviewed since starting this podcast.
Agreed. I'd say up until the Strowman Reigns match, the tag match was propping up the rest of the card very much so. But then
I agreed, yeah.
Then the last hour was very strong. So yeah, I thought it was a very good show.
Although I still think Seth and Bray was good, and I think the cruiserweight match is good. I think it's definitely worth checking. Yeah, I agree. I thought it was definitely the end of the match. Sorry, the end of the pay-per-view really brought it together. The crowd I didn't think were great. Although then again, they did have some meh matches as well. So what exactly can they do with it?
Very pro Joe.
Yeah, but that's to be expected.
Yeah,
he's an internet favourite, and it's Dallas, Texas.
Smarks City. Actually, is it Smarks City? Not really, is it?
Well, it is a wrestling city. So
Dallas. Isn't Dallas is where the Von Erichs were based, right? WCCW?
Yeah.
Is it WCCW? World Championship?
Is it World Class Championship Wrestling?
World Class Championship Wrestling. Thank you very much.
That's all right. It had to be. It was either that World Crap Championship Wrestling.
The Von Erichs. It's a very good documentary on YouTube about WCCW, actually. I'd recommend that.
Oh, cool.
Very tragic.
I was going to say, I don't think it's a happy ending with the Von Erichs, unfortunately.
No, it is very unfortunate. But we digress. So yeah, Great Balls of Fire. Good show. Remember, you can listen to all of our episodes so far on our YouTube page. If you just search for Smarks Without Attitude on YouTube, you can get all of them there. That's where we archive our episodes. Our latest couple of episodes are on iTunes. Again, search for Smarks Without Attitude on iTunes, and you can subscribe to the podcast there. We are on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/SmarksWithoutAttitude, and you can follow us on Twitter at SWA_podcast. That's where we will put any links out to aforementioned iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud. So that's where you can follow us there. So it's a goodbye from me and a goodbye from Harry.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time. Toodaloo.